I think one of the most difficult things for builders of vehicles is making sure that you check every box. So what we're going to do today is go through my build and see if I did that. Let's go. We're going to start by looking at the front end of my van, and I brought an expert. Come on in here. This is Joe from Mainline Overland. They helped me put together this build, and we're going to talk through it and make sure that I kind of did it all right. And we're going to talk about something that most people just flat out miss. All right, what do we have going on here in the front end, Joe? What is this? We got a bumper and some stuff. What do you think here?
Yeah, so when we started out, we wanted to get some extra protection up front. Wanted to place mount some lights. Wanted some recovery points.
So we've got recovery points here. I don't know if I have. Do you think I have enough lights?
I think you could. I see some empty spaces here, John.
I catch a lot of shit about how many lights are on the front of this thing. I really do. People get very upset. Oh, there's too many lights. You're going to blind everybody.
I didn't think it was ridiculous until I saw you in my rearview mirror driving over here. And I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of lights.
It's a lot of lights. So we've got the Warren winch down here. Mm-hmm. And what's the whole point of something like this? Like, what do you gain from putting this on?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing you gain is kind of the comfortability. And like,
is that a real word? It is now. It comfortability.
Is now. You gain a lot of confidence, I would say.
Okay.
When you're out there exploring alone. Adding a winch in here allows you to be able to like self-recover yourself. So if you get stuck in the mud, you run off the road, you get stuck in a ditch. And a lot of times these people are miles and miles away from civilization, don't have cell service.
Sure. So really, it's about giving yourself a little bit of reassurance to be able to go out farther and do more interesting things and just get farther away from civilization.
Right, because personally on my first kind of overland off-road build, there's a lot of stuff I just would not go down because I didn't have a winch. And when I got that winch in there, it became much more comfortable and like confident.
Got it, okay.
So it kind of gives you that little bit of confidence boost. If you do get into a situation, you can get yourself out.
Right.
I think that's the biggest thing it does for you.
Okay, so we've got all this stuff mounted to a CA-tuned, I think they call this the hammerhead bumper. Mm-hmm. It has this sort of like flange here, and this is my only complaint. I love the way this looks. I wish this line right here matched this line on the fog light. That's all. I really wish those two lines matched. Otherwise, I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best looking on the market. By the way, if you hear some barking or something weird in the background, there is a German Shepherd doing bite training over here.
So that's what you hear,
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not something way weirder than that. They're doing cool stuff. Okay, so we've got the strands lights all over the front. I can't remember the names of these. We did videos on all this. So much of this is documented already. So we've got the strands lights. Do you like them, Joe?
I
now
really
that
like
you've seen them?
I like them because there's something different. Everyone's doing like the Baja designs up here. I just like that you did something different.
I also like how slim they are. They're not like, this wide, this deep.
Yeah, all the like amber indicators and all the different functionalities are really slick.
Dig it.
I think it's a great choice, John.
So then we've got more strands lights. These are our ditch lights. They've got warning lights. And if you look way, way up, there's strands lights up there too. Again, I think I have enough. I'm not sure.
We can always add more.
And the way we control the lights is using the Bantam X, that's this thing here. This is the control screen from a company called S-Pod. And all of the wires are run under the seat that I'm sitting on. And I can control everything from the driver's seat. We did this custom mount inside this little cubby here on the Sprinter, and it's got a little ram mount in the background. This was a cool thing that the guys at MLO did. Patrick did an incredible job, but I wanted it kind of stealthy so that it wasn't up here on the windshield blocking my view or doing anything like that. This is how we do it. We've got all the lights laid out. We've got 2 pages because we've got 2 S-Pods for all the lights. And that's how all that stuff gets turned on and off from the driver's seat while you're rolling along. So why would somebody, like in seriousness, why would somebody put big old lights all over the front of their rig?
Yeah, so if you're driving in really remote areas and you're driving on a rougher road, you want to be able to see kind of those features on the road. That's the biggest thing.
So having some down low, some middle, and then some up high.
And especially if you're traveling higher speeds on like back roads and stuff, in a place with a lot of wildlife, the big spotlights up front will help you kind of see any deer or kind of
Sure.
any wildlife down the road.
Yeah, and this is a trophy truck.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm kidding. But I think we did okay. You know, getting all kinds of lights because we got spots. We've got floodlights up top. I'm trying to light up as much as I possibly can.
We pretty much have a solid like 180-degree field of light from the front of the van.
It's substantial.
Yeah.
It's substantial. But there is more. Let's keep it rolling. I'm going to pop the hood. Can you find the thing? This is the most awkward part of any video is like this. Okay. So now we've got some quality of life improvements with these CA-tuned struts. That sticker's coming off a little bit. We'll have to, Max, I'm sorry, your sticker's coming off. But so the CA-tuned struts, Mercedes does not put that on there. This is a 200-pound piece of metal. 200 pounds. So the struts, thanks Mercedes for not including that. Then we've got the CA-tuned brackets for the ditch lights. That's cool. Joe, what's going on over there? Because I don't think we did anything else in here so
over
far.
There's all stock. Then over here you see these little blue air lines. So those are running down to an A or B compressor. So we went ahead and mounted an onboard compressor in this van. So when John's running those tougher trails, he can air down, and this compressor allows him to air back up once he's all done. The really trick thing about this, we did Alvan's system. So this basically has an A or B pressure regulator module in it. So you're able to, from your phone, set the desired pressure, the compressor will run, and once it reaches that desired pressure, it'll cut off, which I think is a really slick design.
Yeah, I think that's excellent because you could dial in your setup and not really have to worry about, you know, where is it, what's it doing. Just hook all four up, and we've got air chucks here, and we'll show you the one on the rear. But like, this is meant to be easy.
Yeah.
So we just hook up to the front and then hook up to the rear, all in one system, and hit a button.
Yeah. So you do both two front tires together, and while those are, you don't have to stand there with the gauge, hold it in.
Check it a bunch of times.
Yeah, exactly. So you basically set it, you can walk away, go, I don't know, go talk with your friends, go
do some backflips,
polish your wheels, I don't know.
Break dance a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you break dance, Joe?
I have.
Leave a comment below if you want to see Joe's breakdancing videos from 1985. When were you born?
96. So.
1985. Okay, so we've got the air compressor. That's pretty cool. I think that's neat to be able to do that. And you know when I felt that was a good thing to add, I'll tell you the thing that told me. When I pumped up my mom's tires on her car.
You didn't have to take it over the wall.
Yeah. I was like, cool, got this handled. It's a mobile air compressor. It's just 90 grand. Okay, I think that covers us for the front of what you can see, right? Let's keep it rolling. Moving right along, one of the more simple mods, right, Joe?
But useful, very useful.
I love this. Look, the step comes out. These are amp research steps. How do you feel about them, Joe?
I think they're great. I really like that they kind of tuck away when they're not in use.
I'll show you that.
Yeah.
There you go. So ready?
Close the door.
Wait for it.
Whoop. They suck back up in there, and I think it gives a really nice, clean, like high clearance look to the van. Any of the other kind of like aftermarket side steps are kind of hanging down.
And they all stick out quite a bit.
Yeah, they provide a nice step, but I kind of think it's unnecessary. I really like the clean look, kind of nothing under the sills there.
It kind of, in my opinion, like sucks everything up under the van, and you don't really have to worry about, am I going to slam into something? It's not really a rock slider, obviously, because it's aluminum, but like, I think it accomplishes a similar goal of keeping everything high and tight.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool.
Moving down the side of the van here, we got some strands scene lighting, one up over the driver door, and one kind of back here. These are just kind of set up for great kind of camp lighting, set the mood.
Yeah, we got them all around because, seeing in the dark is nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
As if the front end didn't give that away.
And the nice yellow will reflect a nice kind of calming color onto the campsite.
That's why it's yellow. That's not true. That's not true. All right, what else?
Also on the side, we got the not so whittle ladder here.
Yes.
I'd say it's the tall and handsome ladder?
Yeah.
That's what we've been calling it.
It's named after me.
Precisely.
Yeah, nailed it.
This is made by Tanorac, and that is who also makes the roof rack up above. So this is kind of a semi-custom rack. They have a few different kind of designs, but they'll basically customize the floor covering on the rack up there to fit where your AC unit is, your vents are.
Yeah.
If you have solar set up, they can accommodate for that.
Yeah, so we have currently a Nomadic X3 on the roof with a, Max Air fan in the front, and both of them have these like protective cages, which is pretty rad. That's an option from Tanorac. And we had, how many, was it 4 or 5 of you up there at Overland
There's
Expo?
probably 5 or 6 of us up there.
5 or 6 people standing on that roof rack. Now, we do not recommend allowing drunk people to stand on your roof rack, but it is capable. It did just fine.
It
right?
proved itself.
And I honestly love the way it's got like that rail all the way around. What would that be useful for? Like educate people on why you would want something like that.
So it just basically provides another kind of mounting point for some accessories on the side, and it also kind of creates like a cage up there.
Right.
So whatever you tie down, it's not going to go anywhere.
And the floor has a million holes in it, so you can tie it down anywhere. Plus, it just looks cool. Really, that's like number one. You know, like I don't necessarily need all that space, but it's cool to have.
Totally. And I really like that Tanorac integrates kind of whatever awning you're going to do. They'll basically custom build the side of the rack up there, so you can just bolt the awning right up.
We basically just went like, which awning do we want? This one, that one, whatever, and they can just make a plate for it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it was easy. And it's cool, this rack ships in 2 pieces, so you're not shipping this thing that's 170 inches long or bigger.
Come on, it's nice and small. This is one of the biggest things ever. Okay, let's keep it rolling. The next thing is a little bit more difficult to see. This black stuff here is made by a company called Second Skin Audio, and this is sound deadening material. And the idea with this, especially in this build, I would recommend this for any vehicle, but this build is basically a giant metal drum. You're driving around in a metal drum, especially from the factory. Mercedes doesn't put anything in here. So to try and mitigate that and try to make it a little bit more tolerable in those big cross-country trips or when you're banging around on the rocks or whatever, put a little bit of Second Skin Audio sound deadening in there, and it tones it down a little bit. We also have some insulation, right, Joe?
Yep, we're just waiting for that to go in. We basically want to get all the interior, kind of the rough wiring laid out.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get all the wiring and the interior panels. That's a whole nother thing, but we got to do that before we get this insulated on top of this, but that's another product from Second Skin. We will make sure that those guys get a little bit of love in here because it's going to be buried in here. It's all inside the van, but it is an integral part of the sort of foundation of a build.
Yeah, this definitely gives it a more like luxurious feel inside too, kind of cutting all the noise, because like a lot of people might not know, but the big difference between like let's say a Toyota and a Lexus, a lot of it's just like sound deadening. Like putting a little bit more time and effort into,
and about 40 grand.
Yeah, and about 40 grand. But that's kind of the big difference with luxury cars, is they're just like adding a ton of sound deadening, and that's what really quiets down the vehicle. It's not a better metal or anything. That's what it is. Sound deadening.
Dig it. Let's keep rolling. I gotta do my old man thing. Put the little, oh God, I'm old.
You're not that old yet.
I'm old. One of the most important things that a lot of people talk about when it comes to this type of build or any build is suspension and wheels and tires, right? Like that's like almost the first thing that people go to.
Because that's basically the foundation of the rest of the build.
Right, like this is how it's going to be set up. So with this particular build, we've got a Nexen tire, and this is their Rodian ATX, and it's a 285/75/17. What are the wheels? Tell them about the wheels.
Yeah, so these are Ryko wheels. So this van is actually a 3500 dually, and if you look in here, there's only one wheel in the back. So that means we went to the super single conversion in the rear. This really opens up a larger variety of tire options. It allows us to run a more aggressive wheel, and it's just nice not having to deal with 2 wheels in the back.
Yeah, and just being able to fit better tires to me is a huge, huge deal, but there are more benefits to that we'll get to in a second. In terms of suspension, what did we have to do here, Joe?
Yeah, so to fit this bigger 34-inch tire, we needed more lift, basically. And we got that by doing Van Compass's 6.3 kit.
Okay.
So we took their spacer components. There's basically a 2-inch spacer block that goes under the transmission, the engine, kind of all the way around.
Subframe spacers, spacers in the rear. We've got drop spacers in the back for the lines and the end links and all that kind of stuff. Because basically what you're trying to do is just give it a little bit of something, a little something. 2 inches.
Yep, so that's giving us some lift.
It's like prom night, sorry.
And then some beefier leaf springs in the back are also helping us get a little more lift.
Yeah, so we've got Deaver leaf springs on here. They came from Shadowmark along with the King struts. We've got King struts front and rear.
Yep.
That was pretty rad. They also helped us with the wheels. And the last thing that I think we need to talk about is the thing that I think people miss, just in general on any build, whether it's overlanding, whether it's a go fast build? What is it, Joe?
That is brakes.
And when it comes to brakes on this particular rig, again from Shadowmark, we got the Rotera brakes, and this is a 6-piston setup on all 4 corners. Now, you can go to Mainline Overland and get this stuff directly from them. They can deal with Shadowmark for you, get you good deals, all that kind of stuff. But Joe, why would somebody want big brakes on a van or an overlanding or a regular car even?
Yeah, right. So when car manufacturers are designing the vehicle, they're designing it with kind of that built weight in mind. And the second you start adding that weight, the kind of factory brakes don't make up for that added weight on there. So you're going to decrease your stopping power. So it's really a big safety upgrade in my opinion. Sure, it is nice.
I definitely agree.
Yeah,
I definitely agree.
It's nice to be able to stop shorter. It's nice to keep your brakes cooler, but it's really a safety thing. If you need to do a panic stop, emergency braking situation, you don't want to be under brake. That's the last thing you want.
Yeah, and the brakes that come on this particular van are absolutely atrocious for how heavy this is going to be. Everything else is super beefy, and a lot of people just ignore the brakes. Even RV brands, they miss it. They do not upgrade the brakes when they're adding, 11,000 pounds of stuff. That's maybe not accurate, but they add a boatload of stuff to the van or the chassis, and the same thing goes with a Tacoma, a Range Rover, you name it. Everything you guys deal with could use bigger brakes.
Absolutely, and having the bigger brake setup on there, you're going to have better cooling. The pads are going to last longer. If you're running factory pads on a big overweight van like this,
you're just going to roast them.
You're just going to be burning through brakes and rotors super quick. So these are expensive to get set up, but kind of in the long run, you're going to be saving time on parts and labor because you're not going to be swapping those brake parts as often.
Right, and if you want to do it right, you do it all the way. So that is everything with this particular build. Phase 1 of the build is finito. We are done. Did I miss anything, Joe?
I don't think so. I think we covered about every little piece of thing we did on this.
There's so much done to this van already, and boatloads more, right? What do we have to do next?
Yeah, so the next big thing is going to be getting windows in here.
Oh my gosh.
Which has been a struggle.
Yeah, that's been a whole thing.
We got a van interior.
Then interior panels.
Cabinets,
the floor.
And then let's not forget about the power system.
The power system and the water system. I'm going to start running out of fingers soon, Joe.
I'm here.
Joe's got fingers. Can you imagine if you just held up nubs? Oh, sorry to anybody without fingers. Sorry. The internet gets offended over little stuff. So that's it, man. This is intended to be one of the ultimate adventure van builds, but I think a lot of this applies to your build. It could apply. And if you want to get some of these parts, you got questions about these parts, you can leave it down in the comments or hit the guys up at Mainline Overland. Joe and the team over there will be happy to assist. They helped me get this figured out. And as per usual, guys, thank you all for watching. We'll see you soon.